We tried to warn you. We tried to. But you just kept pushing, Auburn. You kept pushing, Auburn. Well, he's coming. He's coming for you, Auburn. Are you up or down enough yet, or what?
Oh, wait.
Welcome to episode 56 of the Matt and Ryan Show. Right now, we try to get creative with our show.
He's the one that comes up with this stuff. I just buy into it.
Ryan's going to probably have to mentally evaluate me after this week's one. That was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But
as we know, Harris is coming.
Harris is indeed coming. And we're going to get to that very soon.
Okay.
I guess we got to stick with tradition.
Yeah.
But two big games actually on tap this week, though.
Huge.
We'll start with the Saints. Of course, they'll be having the divisional game. I guess the Bucs, which we'll get to in a sec. But as usual, it's the third time in the last 4 weeks. Let's just get this crap over with. The Saints flat out got their asses handed to them on national TV, and they have some serious concerns on the defensive side of the ball to just begin with, I think, Ryan.
What in the hell is going on in New Orleans? When we came into this season, we had potentially one of the best defenses in the NFL on paper. Vaccaro, non-existent. Jarriusburg, $54 million that I would have rather had in my back pocket. What the hell is going on with the defensive line? Keenan Lewis is the only reason Des Bryant didn't destroy us single-handedly. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I think I had mentioned this last week. Rob Ryan, in his first year in defensive schemes with new teams, gets the team to play out of this world and then just tanks. Well, guess what? It's his second season in New Orleans, and guess what the hell's happening on the black and gold defense? They're tanking. Absolutely tanking.
It's almost a defensive equivalent of Gary Crowton. He's the same way.
Yeah.
When he was going to all that, whether he was at Nevada or at LSU, the first year he was always great. He kind of adapted a hybrid of what the offense that he inherited, and then it would be like the stock market or a roller coaster, go straight downhill after. But yeah, the Saints have some serious concerns on the defensive side of the ball. Just begin. The Saints' offensive line has been up and down at times. Drew Brees is, I think, really struggling with the deep ball. And I think Sean Payton's play call has been very questionable at times as well. It's a collaborative effort. I think it does start with the defense.
Yep.
But it's not like anybody else is getting a free pass either. I think they may have, if anything, done what Sean Payton has told them not to do in the past, and the Saints had all the preseason hype, and they ate the cheese.
Yeah, they sure did.
In fact, the only cheese that the Saints have had this year so far, it seems like it's Swiss, because there's just holes
all over that defense.
Everywhere.
Jimmy, you ain't worth $10 million.
Well, he shouldn't block well.
You keep proving to us, the people who rooted for you to stay in New Orleans, so we can get rid of Darren Sproles and De La Puente and Malcolm Jenkins, all three of which who are playing lights out on their respective teams, to keep you because you wanted your big money. Well, guess what? You ain't worth $10 million. You are 6'7", 260. No excuse to fumble the ball. No excuse to drop the ball. No excuse to not be able to block on run plays. Personally, I think Jimmy Graham's the most overhyped person in the NFL right now, and he is being exposed left and harsh. Okay. I think if Jimmy doesn't turn it around, cut him or trade him.
Well, yeah,
trade him.
It'd be even worse if we cut him.
Well, let's look at this, Matt. Because of the moves that we made in the offseason with Jarriusburg's contract, with all the money being backloaded in his contract, guess how much our salary cap hit is next year?
For Bird or
no, for the whole team. $140 million.
Yes, I think.
Guess how much it is in 2016? $160 million.
There you go.
And are we getting what we paid for right now?
Nope. I knew it was about 10 to 15 million over for next year's players already, and that includes free agents already off the roster, and of course it gets even worse. Well, and then part of that is also, like you mentioned, Bird's contract's going to have a bigger hit. Jimmy's one's going to have a bigger hit. Drew Brees' one has a tremendous hit next year, but I think Brees will restructure. And he's kind of noted to that as well, although he'll have to really restructure. Mickey Loomis has his work cut out for him. He put together a team that on paper was built to win now. I think he also knows that Drew Brees' prime is
over.
I tell you what, at times it looks like that. Either that, I was going to say rapidly closing. Not that he's not a still good quarterback,
True,
but is he worth $20 million a year?
That's still to be discussed.
Yeah. Although I think he hasn't had any or much help with the offensive line at times too. But
and it doesn't help Teron Armstead went out of the game with a concussion.
Yeah,
you got to look at all the factors here. Yes, I'm being harsh, but we got to look at all the factors.
And I think some of the play calling maybe has set him up to fail at times. Just especially when we
maybe not to fail, but to not be as successful as it could be.
Right. And then of course, if we're getting behind by so much early, I mean we got to rely on Drew. Where in the past he was able to just throw darts after darts after darts, but he's not quite that anymore. Yeah, you can't get yourself in a 24-0 hole either. I mean, as great as Brees is, he's not going to always be able to get you out of that. But anybody, Peyton Manning or
Tom Brady showed last night he can't climb out of a 24-0 hole.
Yeah. But Saints have some work to do. But the good news is, well, and before we even get into this, they have got to find a way to get over those road woes. 6 regular season ones in a row, but if anything, the time to rebound and get this thing fixed is now. You're at home in a division game, which almost counts more than a one game, you know, because they're so important. And the thing is, the NFC South 9-7 could win it this year. So season's not over yet, but Saints are back in the confines of the Superdome. They'll have the bye week after that. So
thank God.
Essentially, it could be coming at a good time, and the Saints can use this game to hopefully get back on the right track. Use the bye week to get going because the schedule does not get any easier after that. And we'll see what happens for sure.
If you would have told me in July that the Saints would be 1-3 after 4 weeks, I would have laughed at you. Mm-hmm. Then if you would have followed it up with saying the Saints are going to be 1-3 and 1 game out of first place in the division, I would have told you needed psychiatric help. But that's exactly where the Saints are at right now at 1-3. We are 1 game out of first place in the NFC South.
It's the parity of the NFL, right?
And right now, you see some crazy stuff going on. The AFC East, or is it the North, with the Dolphins, the Jets,
East,
the Patriots, and the
Bills
are all tied at 2-2. There is no first place. The Patriots are in trouble of not making the playoffs after the first quarter of football.
Who is, I believe, both of our other Super Bowl pick with the Saints this year.
There's a lot of stuff going on. The Bengals are the only undefeated team in the NFL right now.
And the Bengals were that team we were talking about earlier. It's like dark horse.
Yeah. You know, what's going to happen Sunday is this.
And Arizona's looking really good right now, too.
Tampa doesn't have Mike Evans for 3 to 6 weeks. He got hurt on Sunday.
And I believe Glennon's going to have to start again.
Glennon's going to start again. Glennon's going to be their number 1 guy moving forward.
back? Let's see. Hold on.
I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Yeah, I stopped broadcast, so let's go with. I think at least if there we go.
I don't know what the hell just happened, but we're flip flopped and we lost our graphic. But we're gonna roll with it.
I did pay my touch bill, so I don't know why it's not working. But
Jimmy Soft. Yeah. Jimmy Soft. He gets exposed and he takes a hard hit and drops the football. He's soft. He's not worth $10 million. The defense and Jarius Byrd, if we don't see anything out of Jarius Byrd, he's not worth the $54 million we paying him. Well, I don't really understand what's going on. I don't get it.
I thought he actually played okay, Ryan, but then again, it was overshadowed because the defense was just god awful in that game as well. But,
I don't get it, man.
You take it as well. But with that being said, last week's over with. What's your take on this week?
I want to see the defense show up, man. I want to see the offense that we know can put up 35 at home easily. I want to see that team that we didn't see against Minnesota. Minnesota is a much better team than I gave them credit for. They showed it in this past Sunday when they beat Atlanta. 35-24. 35-24, and I think that we don't pull away until the end of the game.
I could see it. And it just seems to me the Saints' offense has gotten worse each game this year.
Statistically speaking, they sure have.
I mean,
34 points against Atlanta, 24 against Cleveland, 20 against the Vikings at home.
17.
I mean, what the hell is going on?
And those were almost giving touchdowns when the Cowboys were in prevent. But
24-0 at halftime is unfreaking acceptable.
On paper, this game should be a blowout, especially in the Dome. But I agree with you, Ryan. I think
it ain't gonna.
I think it's going to be a typical NFC South battle. I'm going to go with the Saints 27-20. I got to see from the offense.
Fourth quarter touchdown wins it.
It may very well be like that.
That's the way I'm calling it too. So, to ice it.
But I don't even know what the spread is this week. I got to imagine it's probably Saints by possibly more than 7.
If it's anything more than 7, Vegas knows what's going on and they're trying to make money.
Yeah. Or if not, take the points.
I'm about to tell you.
Actually, you know what? I wouldn't even touch this game with a 10-foot pole.
Nope.
But
nope, sure wouldn't.
I think Ron and I both agree, though, that the Saints at least will win this week.
Saints are 10-point favorite at home on Sunday.
I wouldn't touch that spread, but I'll take the Saints with the money line.
Definitely. I'll take the Saints with the money line. I almost brought a panic button.
You almost brought the panic button?
I almost brought the panic button. But it's only the first quarter.
Is that right by the – is that right by the easy button at Staples?
Yes. It's also big and red.
Oh, yes. There you go. By the way, Staples, we want money for that. We really want a sponsor. We really do.
But for now, we have to work with some idiot producers.
Yeah. And apparently some really bad cable internet.
Yeah, good job, Cox. Way to suck.
I see what you did there.
Well done. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Flipping gears. This week, LSU goes on their first road game of the year, and of all places on the Plains against number 5 Auburn. I think this game at first had lost a little of its luster, but now with the news that LSU is throwing a true freshman in their quarterback, there is some optimism, but at the same time, is it a train wreck too? There's going to be a lot of questions answered this week, Ryan.
I was watching something this morning. They were talking a lot about this game and what the Tiger offense does now that Brandon Harris is in the game is it truly opens up a lot of the formations because this guy's making all the right decisions at the right times. He's got 394 passing yards on the season so far and only 1 interception. That 1 interception was at the end of the Mississippi State LSU game in garbage time to try and win it. 2 feet further, like we had just said right before we came live, 2 feet further, and LSU wins that game, and he still has an almost perfect passing record on the season. Jennings has 5 picks. Harris has 1. Harris has 5 touchdowns. Jennings has 7. In not even comparable amounts of playing time. Harris looks like he gives this offense a spark. You can see the Tigers running out of a 1 tight end diamond running back set where you've got Fournette, McGee, and Kenny Hilliard in the backfield, and then you can see the Tigers run 4 wide with just Fournette in the backfield, all with Harris under center because this guy puts the ball in a rope and makes the right decision at the right time. And if he doesn't, he pulls it down and keeps it. Jennings looked so uncomfortable against New Mexico State in those first 4 drives. Harris comes in and just looked like he was meant to be in that offense from Jump Street. And I think this was a no-brainer. This was a no-brainer after the Mississippi State game halfway through it. But, of course, Les Miles being the stubborn son of a bitch he is, just wouldn't hear it.
Well, he did come out this weekend and say it wasn't a difficult decision. But
of course not. How's it a difficult decision? How is it a difficult decision?
Kind of hard to argue against that.
Where's the difficulty in making that decision?
But one thing I noticed is that it seemed against New Mexico State when Jennings was in there to start the game, they ran more of that wide open offense that Harris seems to be better at running at. And Jennings struggled with it. And it makes you wonder if that maybe put the light bulb on in Les Miles' head or what.
I think we discussed that last week. Is against New Mexico State, we expected to be able to run the ball well. Their defense averaged giving up over 300 yards a game on the ground, and we have one of the best running offenses in the nation with 3 fantastic running backs. So we expected to see the playbook open up more to kind of tune up for Auburn. And that's where Jennings struggled terribly.
And not to mention, that's one of the most undersized teams I've ever seen. Sam Houston would kill that team.
They would destroy him.
And they would absolutely
destroy him. Now, my one concern also got kind of alleviated on the defensive. The Aggies managed to break off that one long touchdown run, which was
other than that, defense I thought played well, but
the defense made up for it with a touchdown.
That's right.
They made up for it with a touchdown. Daniil Hunter, once he settled in, looked fantastic. He really did.
Bring back memory. Who got that touchdown on defense? I believe he plays middle linebacker. Who was it? I believe his name is Beckwith.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? What number is Beckwith?
52.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
All right. So our argument from last week still stands. Welter needs to ride the pine.
He just doesn't seem to have it physically. I never cheer against the guy on the field. And I know people were frustrated with Jennings being in the game. That's understandable. I don't care who's in there for LSU. I'm going to pull for him to do well. Even if I may favor another player, that just is what it is. I just always am personally against booing. If you want to boo the coaches, that's fine. I think that's fair game. But then again, unless they start a chant that says, "I am booing Miles," if you hear the word, it's a word, boo, or chant, however you want to put it. But that may come on the players negatively. I don't know.
One thing Miles did about damage control with that was he let Anthony Jennings know that most of the people that were booing, and this is a completely accurate statement, and probably have never played competitive team football in their lives. And if they did, it wasn't any higher than Pee Wee football. This kid is 19 years old, man. He's a young man, and I'm guilty as charged of yelling at the television and putting a couple of Facebook posts up about get Jennings out of there. He looks terrible. Put Harris in, because you've got to put your best players moving forward. Right. But you can't have, at the same time, you couldn't have Anthony Jennings going into Auburn after what happened this Saturday and expect him to play even halfway decent. That's the other half of it. You go with Harris's numbers, but you got to look at Jennings' psyche too.
Yeah, and at the same time, we need him. We're gonna need him.
Yeah, we will. He's a talented athlete.
Yeah,
and I think you could see some interesting trickery with Jennings and Harris in the game.
And it's not to say the guy can't improve.
Oh, definitely not. He's the more experienced quarterback, and he really and truthfully, he came in against Arkansas last season and marched down the field like a true veteran. He managed a decent game against Iowa. He made a couple of really crucial plays against Wisconsin. The guy's not terrible. It's not like we're having a freshman Jarrett Lee all over again. It's it's just you got to go with who's hotter right now when you have 17 freshmen playing on the field.
And back to the boos, vast majority of that was from the student section. By the way, I'm about to call you all out right now. I have a photo. If you actually go on my album from the LSU football season, I took a photo at halftime. I don't care who it is. It's the student section. Student section died when Ryan and I left. I'll say it. 2007, the student section died.
Yep.
The student section was about 40% full at halftime against New Mexico State. By the way, Harris was in the game by then. The guy that they chant, and I quote, "We want Harris." Well, you get what you want, and
then you leave.
You leave. Or is the frat party that much more important?
I was Greek at LSU and didn't leave LSU games early for house parties at my fraternity.
And refresh my memory. I wasn't a fraternity, but you were. But it doesn't also take common sense to figure out. Pretty sure the fraternity parties go to about 3, 4 in the morning.
Depending on what house you're in, depending on what's going on.
Let's be conservative. 2 a.m.?
You know, if it's a 12 o'clock game, the party can wait, man. The party can wait because, you know, Georgia game, 2003. Skylar Green's game-winning touchdown. I made sure to let my fraternity know I'm going with friends of mine from childhood for this one game, and they were okay with that. You're part of the student body. You are the reason why Tiger Stadium is as powerful as it is, and you're going to frickin' leave the game early? Give the tickets up.
I think the administration needs to shrink the student section.
No, I think
take away seats from them. Make them learn.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Shrink the student section until they understand.
And guess what, Joe, guess what that means? That means more money in your pocket. Yep. Because you can charge a regular admission and not the $14.
We should write a petition to them. As alumni and ex-LSU student who were there for 2 national championships. There you go. Watch how many people we get on board with that.
Well, it's already on record now. I'm sure he watches the show, right?
Oh, y'all seen it. Y'all seen it. It's disgusting, though. It really is.
Yeah. But anyway, we're getting way off topic depending on the students.
Back
to Auburn. They go to the Plains this week. A team that LSU was the only SEC team that beat them last year.
Yep.
But
the only team that beat them, oh, no, mine's right. National championship.
Well, should have beat Florida State.
13 seconds.
Yeah. But Ryan, this is a series that the home team has dominated. The home team is 12-2 since 2000 in this series. Auburn hasn't beat LSU in the 2000s at home, and LSU's got. In fact, Nick Saban never beat Auburn in Auburn. Miles is the only one with the 2 wins out there. He actually probably should have 3. Cam Newton beat him, but
Cam Newton's Cam Newton. Man.
We also can't help referees when Brandon LaFell being, molested out there in the secondary before the ball gets there, but no lightly.
Right.
For being frank about it.
This is going to be a battle of offenses. This game could really and truthfully be a shootout with an over-under of close to 80.
Yeah.
It really could.
And I think the key to the game, especially for LSU, I think they have to hold Auburn under 200 yards rushing, which the same thing. 200 yards rushing, that's horrible to begin with. Well, with a more one-dimensional team like Auburn, I think they have to do that to even be in the game.
I think the key here is if we can force Nick Marshall to throw the ball. If we can get them in third and manageable situations.
Which is exactly what Kansas State did.
Exactly. The Kansas State held them to 14 points? It was a 14-10 ball game.
They ended up winning 20-14.
Okay, so 20. You held one of the best rushing offenses in the nation to 20 points because you kept them on third and manageables. You kept not third and 7s, third and 9s, but third and 5s, where you can actually put 7 or 8 men in the box and force Nick Marshall to either hand the ball off in uncomfortable situations or throw it to one-on-one wide receivers. We've got the talent in secondary to shut down Bray Quan or whatever the hell his name is.
LSU can almost, I think, afford to play cover 1.
Yeah, I think we could. I really do think we could. Put them on the island
and let somebody like Jalen Mills or something like that play rover.
If you got Beckwith playing in the linebacker at the mic, and you got Daniil Hunter playing the way he has been, and Rasco as well, you really could see an interesting ball game on Saturday night.
If I'm Auburn, I'm running it up the middle every play until LSU
all day.
LSU's defensive tackles, they could be talented, but they're young freshmen. They're undersized, and they need to.
You're going against a very fast rushing offense.
Yeah.
Speed-wise and execution-wise.
Now, as far as the speed and the pace, I think LSU can keep up with it because we prepare for it every year.
Right.
Now, I'm not worried about that part, about the defense being gassed. And not to mention, a cold front's coming through. The temperature at night, it's going to get below 60 during the game, so heat's not going to be a problem.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect football weather.
Oh, yeah. Football weather's fun. It's October.
Yeah, it will be. Come Saturday.
But
you would say that.
Yeah, I would say I'm biased.
About October.
So with that said, Ryan, I think we should wait till rapid fire to pick this game.
Okay.
This is a pretty important game.
Okay.
Should we go Major League Playoffs?
Dive right in. You want to start with rapid fire with the Major League Playoffs?
All right, Major League Playoffs. So our National League team is still alive.
Yep.
That we picked at the beginning of the year. Ryan and I both picked the Nationals to get to the World Series. They are, I believe, the number 1 seed. No, or they're the number 2 seed. Two. That's right.
The Dodgers number 1.
And then, of course, I picked the Rays, who were awful, and Ryan picked his
Yankees.
Homer team, the Yankees, who were better than the Rays, but still not.
I just wanted to see Jeter get one more ring in his last season. But he went out in epic proportions. So, yeah, as Jeter would.
He would.
So be that.
Cheers to the captain, indeed. In fact, I thought it was kind of cool that Boston on their scoreboard. First of all, I like how Boston and any ballpark does it. They still use the old school scoreboard.
Yeah.
The guys back, but of course they spelled it out like it was like a thank you message for everything. For like,
that's awesome.
I mean, if even the Red Sox and Yankees can do that.
Dude, how long has he been playing? Like 17 years, 18 years?
Oh, wow.
We're 29.
I think it might have been 19.
19,
I think maybe 90, like 95.
Man. Dude, he's balling out of control too. He's rich as hell.
Yeah. I saw a funny graphic when they were talking about all the hot girls that dated, and they had them. They called like the Jeter Diamonds or whatever.
Nice.
They had a baseball diagram. Each of the 9 positions on the diamond, it had like each
all Jeter's girlfriends over 19 years.
Oh, that's awesome. He really is the real life Barney Stinson.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he is legendary.
He is. Wait for it.
There you go. Hope he's not like those in college.
Hope not.
But with that said, in fact, the Royals and A's are playing in the first wild card game. You got the Pirates and Giants tomorrow night. But I'm still going to stick with the Nationals to get to the World Series and from the National League side.
Of course.
And then on the American League side, I think it's wide open on that side.
It really is.
What we got? We got the Orioles, the Tigers.
The Orioles have the best record in baseball. The Tigers.
Who won it? Was the Mariners or the Angels? I forgot.
I don't know.
That even won the West. That's sad.
I don't know. I forgot.
I should know. That's who the damn Disastros are in.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Rangers, and it wasn't the A's. I want to say it might have been Seattle. I know it was the
Tigers and Orioles.
Unless the Angels came back and won it.
I'm skipping over. I'm not sure.
Maybe the MLB scores don't even know.
I don't know. Who knows? It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Who won the AL West? Wow. Blanche would be disappointed.
Sorry, Blanche.
Yeah. Blanche stopped paying attention to baseball anyway. The Braves didn't make the playoffs. But like I said, I'm not even taking the West anyway. I'm going to take the Orioles. They seem like a team of destiny this year, so I think the World Series will be the Orioles and the Nats, which would be kind of cool. 30 minutes apart.
Yeah. Be home, but that would be interesting because then there would be no real home game, road game.
That's right.
They're so close to each other. You'd have fans going to both games.
Yeah, that's 30 minutes apart.
I'm going to stick with the Nats, but you know what, man? I'm just going to gamble with it. I'm going to be my blind optimist self. I'm going with the Royals. I want to see the Royals, after not making the playoffs for 29 years,
It is pretty cool.
make a run.
Hey, what was the last time they back in there like George Brett?
The last time they made the playoffs was before I was born. Well, actually, the year I was born.
That's great, because they never made it with Bo Jackson.
Nope.
You know, but yeah, I think it was when they had George Brett.
85.
There you go.
1985.
There you go.
Nats, Royals,
And I took Nats and Orioles.
Nats and Orioles. Let's see what happens.
That sounds like a cereal. You're welcome, Ken.
Rapid fire.
It is rapid fire time. We always pay respect to the pastime, but
Of course.
yes, we do need to get. You want to control the board this week?
I got it since I got my brand new LG.
Well, we're giving it a lot. We're giving it a lot of
Oh
plugs.
man, I'll plug LG all day long. SEC.
That's my TV.
I'm gonna say the top 15 matchups.
Okay.
Florida going to Knoxville as an underdog.
Tennessee is a team that is on the rise, and Florida is a team that is on the downside even more this year. They are very suspect this year. They survived Kentucky at home this year. I think Tennessee is way overdue to beat Florida, and I got the balls in Knoxville. And in fact, I think this might be one of those games they just really show, especially they were this close to beating Georgia.
They sure were.
Last
in
week.
Athens.
In Athens. I don't think they'll be down for this game. I think Tennessee comes out. I got them by 10 at home.
108,000 people.
That's the biggest state. Well, the Big House passed them up, but
Rocky Top breaks the streak. Muschamp becomes on the hot seat. I got the balls. Only a 3-point favorite. I got the balls by 4.
so they like them as even on a neutral side.
Relatively,
That sounds about right. But I think this is year Tennessee finally gets them.
Yeah, I think Tennessee in the next couple of years could be a top 25 and an SEC East contender. Big time.
Absolutely.
Butch Davis has his team on a roll.
Tennessee may win the East next year.
Potentially.
South Carolina, Georgia
are going to be on the downfall because they're going to lose some talent.
That's right.
Speaking of South Carolina, who is now outside of the top 25, traveling to Kentucky.
That's why preseason rankings don't mean anything. Preseason 9, huh?
South Carolina, 5-point favorite in Kentucky.
I think Spurs. Actually, wow,
it's tough because you got a pretty good Kentucky team too. Kentucky's gonna push over this year. Kentucky could be a bowl team this year.
I think they will be a bowl team. I'm gonna take Carolina, but I think Kentucky will cover. I think Carolina escaping by a field goal.
I think at the end of the day, old ball coach and South Carolina's talent that they have on both sides of the ball is just gonna be a little too much. 3-4 point game right here.
But they have a serious problem in quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, hello.
Who you've been spot on?
Dylan Thompson, you are terrible.
You've been spot on.
How did you get the starting job in South Carolina? I do not know. This guy's a joke.
It's Connor Shaw graduated.
Georgia barely sneaked out alive against Tennessee at home last week. Stays at home this week.
The Gurley train carried them to that
against the dismal 1-4 Vanderbilt team. 33.5-point favorite.
Covers, but Georgia easily dismantles Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is bad.
Georgia 31.
Vanderbilt's going for possibly one of the worst teams in SEC history this year.
Probably.
They're just that bad. They gave Kentucky a game on the road last week. It was 17, but then Vanderbilt's only touchdown, I think it was on a punt block or a fumble return for a touchdown. It wasn't on offense.
Nope.
They really have no quarterback.
They really don't. They don't have an offense.
Yeah.
Ooh.
James Franklin, I think, knew what he was getting into. When he
3 big ones coming up in the SEC. We'll start with Stark Vegas. Number 12, 4-0 Mississippi State plays host to number 6, 5-0 Kenny Hill and the Texas A&M Aggies. State a 2.5-point favorite. The underdog. But is this really an upset? 6-12? SEC West?
This is one of those games that can State finally, well, they did beat LSU, so I guess they have shown they can win a big one. But then State can also be one of those teams that can continue to win a big game, or they're going to have one of those drop-off games. But even if this is a game that they would drop, it's not necessarily that bombshell loss, say, if they would lose to like a Vanderbilt or something like that.
Right.
But
only a 2.5-point favorite at home.
2.5-point favorite at home. A&M should have lost last week.
Should have.
To Arkansas. I think A&M's going to have just too much firepower. I think this game might be first team to 40 points, wins this one. Neither team can really play defense at all. State can't stop the run, but A&M can air it out in the air. I'm going to go A&M escaping by a field goal.
You forgot to mention one thing. Dak Prescott's a damn good quarterback.
He is a damn good quarterback.
Dak Prescott won't have his starting center.
That's right.
A&M 14.
But they do have the cowbells.
I think A&M will play spread all day long.
Yeah.
And that's something that Mississippi State has a problem with UAB.
And they just
see the opposite of what LSU did to them in Tiger Stadium week before last. LSU manned up and tried to push them around, and that plays to State's strengths.
Yes.
Guess what A&M does? The exact opposite. I think A&M comes out of this one. I think it stays close. But I think the big factor is that Dak Prescott's offensive line is going to be weaker. A&M's defense isn't that great, but still managed to size up and beat the biggest offensive line in football. Arkansas's offensive line is 328.4 pounds on average. That's bigger than the Raiders. That's bigger than the Texans. That's bigger than any NFL team and any NCAA team across the nation. And A&M seemed to come out alive. They're going to be playing a smaller, but still nonetheless not as weak Mississippi State team. I like A&M. I'm going to stick with 10, not 14. I think 14 is a little too big.
Yeah, I got like a 41-38 type of game.
Alabama goes into Oxford. 4-0.
I am praying for an asteroid.
Bama at number 3. Mississippi, Ole Miss at number 11. Bama goes into Ole Miss as a 6.5-point favorite, man. Which Blake Sims do we see on Saturday? That's the question, I think.
This is that big game that Ole Miss has been licking at the chops for. College game day is going there. The people are going to be going absolutely nuts in Oxford. Bo Wallace is a great quarterback. Ole Miss is a talented team. I mean, they beat LSU last year there.
Sure enough.
Very tough team to beat at home. I'm personally pulling for the asteroid to blow up the stadium. With that said, this is the typical Ole Miss choke that I think will happen. I think Alabama will win by 2 touchdowns, and it won't even really be close. Oh, we ever wait for it?
I can't even do it. I can't even.
I'm not gonna say you can't. It's not a win situation, regardless of who you're picking. This one. The asteroid is the correct.
The asteroid is the correct answer. I'm gonna go with Team C, asteroid. I was about to say hotty toddy. I think this will be the one big X factor.
Okay.
Think A&M last year.
Okay.
High speed spread offense.
Uh-huh.
Florida gave them fits until Florida started coughing the ball up.
Yes.
Ole Miss, this one is all on Ole Miss. This is not on Bama. Ole Miss is playing lights out right now. Lights out right now. If Bo Wallace can do what Bo Wallace can do,
and see, he struggled against Boise.
He struggled against Boise, but they look. But that's also early in the season.
And they also looked bad against Memphis last week. They put it away in the fourth quarter, but it was 7-3 going into the fourth quarter at home against a Memphis team that's not.
They could be suspect. Excuse me.
Which Ole Miss team is going to show up?
Which Ole Miss team is going to show up? Because you know what you're going to get from Bama. You're going to get stout defense. You're going to get good. You're going to get a good rush offense.
You mentioned Blake Simpson. They're going to run
and run. And then you're going to hit Amari Cooper for a 70-yard play action pass whenever they put 9 men in the box. It's Alabama. That's what they do. Yeah. But some freaking God only known reason you can't seem to stop them. It's like telegraph. You know what's coming, but you can't stop them. I think this one stays close.
Okay.
And this is my optimistic thinking. It's SEC West. They're both undefeated. They're both top 10 teams. Ole Miss can win this game.
Absolutely.
Because it's in Oxford. If this is in Tuscaloosa, it's a 17-point ball game in Bama's favor.
Mm-hmm.
Will Bo Wallace have the game of his career? Because this is the defining moment. He hasn't beat Alabama yet.
That's right.
He beat LSU. He beat State.
He had the game of his career against LSU last year.
That he did. Bama, 7.
Bama by 7, okay.
And the game we all have been waiting for.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bum, bum, bum.
We do indeed go into the jungle.
The Tigers.
Tiger Bowl. Tiger War Eagle Plainsman can't make up a damn mess.
Marching into Jordan-Hare. On Monday, this game was a 10.5-point line. Monday afternoon, Harris was announced the starter. The game is now 7.5-point line in Auburn's favor. What do you think, man?
Well, let's see. Let's put all the parameters together here. Home team is 12-2 since 2000. LSU has never had a true freshman win his first SEC road start. Closest was actually Jordan Jefferson. Actually, Jordan Jefferson should have won against Arkansas back in 2008, but true. Danny McCrae's taking out Eric Reed.
True.
Yeah, getting to that later on. Because even guys like Tommy Hudson, they were redshirt freshmen.
Right.
The key to this game is, can LSU stop the run? They know it's coming. Can they stop it? On the flip side, I think Brandon Harris will relish the opportunity, the quarter less miles ism right there.
There you go.
To go into retirement.
Very hot.
Palms galore. We'll see. They might dress like preppies, but I give them credit. They show up every game. They fill it up. They stay to the end. They're up there. I mean, LSU's still up there too, but Auburn, I'd say, probably its best student section. Very tough to play against. I think LSU will put points on the board, though. I think Auburn's defense isn't that great against the pass.
Yeah.
So I think LSU will be able to put points up. I think this game ends up being the first one that 30 wins it. And with that said, I got to see LSU be able to stop the run. I think Auburn's going to have a little too much firepower. I'm going to take Auburn 31-24. Gives it an effort, but I think he's personally going to have to really take over the game on the road to be able to do it. But even in a loss, I think you see an LSU team that takes a huge step forward, possibly, though.
This will be the first time this season I play against the Tigers. I select against the Tigers. My blind optimism can only carry me so far. 7.5-point underdog in Jordan-Hare, true freshman quarterback. 17 freshmen that start on both sides, on all three phases of the ball. The two ways we win. We stop their run and force them to throw it, or we match them point for point. Cue Leonard Fournette.
We haven't even, how would we not even mention both?
This could be Booger Nation's coming out party. He finally looks like the game is slowing down.
His vision is improved.
His vision is drastically improved from Wisconsin to now. He looked phenomenal against New Mexico State. Now, I know I just said against New Mexico State, but he looked phenomenal. He broke 120 yards. He looked like the go-to back on Saturday. Are we trying to build his confidence to get him moving forward? There's a lot of different things to think about, but the two big things is if we can match them point for point and keep up with the Auburn offense, it won't matter on the defense. It won't. If we get a stop, if we get 1-2 crucial stops throughout the game and match them point for point, the Tigers will come out on top. So I am pulling against the Tigers, Matt. I am.
Which Tigers?
Damn it. Sticking with the blind optimism. 31-30. LSU.
Oh, the Homer upset special.
31-30. LSU.
Harrison
Fournette. This team is geared in 2015 to be a top 5 preseason team and run with that ranking.
I will say this. I feel a lot better about this game than I did Sunday.
Absolutely. Traven Durrell has 5 touchdowns on the season. Fournette has 4 touchdowns on the season and has broken the, I want to say, the 300-yard mark so far for the season.
Yes.
For the running back stable that we have, to have all of them over 100 yards on the season and 2 of them over 250, 1 over 3, says a lot. I'm carrying my blind optimism with me one more week. I can't do it. It pains me to pull against them. 31-30 LSU. I think this is when the cardiac cats end up giving us a break.
I may have to take 2 blood pressure pills for this game.
Yo, you will. Especially because you're going to be there, right?
Yes.
You're going to Jordan Hare this year.
We're making the Jordan Hare trip. But that said, though, we're both 1-4 in upset specials, and I still have to pick one. You know, you went ballsy on yours. I'm going to go ballsy on mine as well. I think the Maryland Terrapins are going to knock Ohio State out of the top 25 for the first time, and I can't even remember how
Since
long.
before Tressel.
Well, there you go. The Turtles 4-0. I think
and there's no spread on that game.
No spread of the game. Maryland's at home. I think the Turtle can do it.
Let's go Terps.
Go Terps. So I'm going to go with Maryland over Ohio State.
If they come out with those badass Under Armour uniforms.
Oh, those are really cool.
With the Maryland flag and everything like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very Baltimore Ravens. You know,
yeah, with the
Regal.
That's like the Maryland flag.
Well, that's true.
That yellow and black
that's true.
pattern is the Maryland flag. I think it's really cool. Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to stick with my cardiac cats as the upset special. He's got the Terps over the Cho guys. I had to keep it PG. There's a couple other things I wanted to say, but I'll keep it PG for the kids out there. And for you, Mom and Dad. Else for you.
Oh, yeah, the parentals. With that said, next week the Saints will be on a bye, so we have some filler stuff to do.
We'll talk some LSU football moving forward after this weekend's game.
You know, I have an idea. We could do a Matt versus Ryan challenge. Let's do a collaborative one this time. Each other. You know what? Send us your ideas. What do you want Ron and I to take on and try to beat? Could be anything.
Almost anything. I have to put some parameters. We got some crazy fans.
Yeah. Should we play scramble golf at the putt-putt course in City Park? See if we can birdie every hole? I don't know. That's just one idea.
Throw them out there.
Throw them out there.
Come back at us with it.
Absolutely.
But till next week.
Till next week. You say that. I'll go on the robot one, huh? But Ryan, before you go, I also need you to do me one more favor. I need you to follow me to the jungle.
Good night, America.
Good night, America.
Who that?
See you from the plains. Go to hell, Auburn. And who's texting us? And that's my sister.
Go Tigers.
Okay, my sister needs stuff. All right, that's it. Go Real Tigers.
31-30, upset special.